Your boundaries are like a defense, okay? It's either spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially. It's a defense for you. It's differentiating what I do want and what I don't want, and drawing that line defense. Okay, there's 3 ways to make sure that you set correct boundaries and that you keep them. And that's what we're going to be going through today. So hello guys, welcome to Student of Life podcast with your host Akwesi Pepper. Thank you very much for being here. And like I said, we're going to talk about boundaries today. So let's get straight into it. So to first even set proper boundaries is for you to understand yourself. Understand your needs, understand your wants. What is that you don't like? What do you like? Okay, how do you create that space where you feel safe, you're able to communicate effectively to others? And if you're able to understand what you want, what your needs are, understand who you are, how to operate, you wouldn't know how to set correct boundaries. You always get them breached, and you always have people just coming in and out of your life, going and coming in, doing anything that they want, putting you in danger, either it's physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. Okay, and that takes me now to number 2. Once you've reflected on what is your needs and your wants and all those things there, it's now for you to then set those boundaries. Okay, set them. And when it comes to setting them, you need to communicate. You don't just set them and just sit there and be like, oh, this is my boundaries and that's it. And with setting them, again, like I said, is communication. Okay, and then when you communicate it, it then takes you for you to start implement it. Don't just communicate and tell somebody and just be like, yeah. Because some people, you tell them, this is what you want, this is your boundaries, this is what they cannot do around you, this is what it is, and they will still disrespect you and breach it. They will breach the agreement that you have with them. And right there is when then you implement your boundaries. You say you set them, you communicate it, and now to implement, one is being breached. And when it comes to implementing it, it can sometimes take you to a place of solitude, a place of loneliness, and a place of independence, I'll say. Not really loneliness, more of independence. Because what will happen is that you start to realize that a lot of people are actually very disrespectful. A lot of people that you call your friends, a lot of people you call your families, most of them don't respect you. Because they're so used to you. And maybe before you didn't have any boundaries, you're just very used to doing anything around you. So now you kind of set them, they kind of feel like, oh, why? They kind of feel entitled. And you start to realize that very quickly once you really start to set strong boundaries and really start to implement them. And what will take you into is a place of solitude and independence. You start realizing that the best way to have some really good peace of mind and to have more respect show that respect for yourself is for you to be independent. Not to be around certain people, to cut certain people off. Sometimes you don't have to be family, sometimes even your parents or your siblings. Because they just don't respect you enough to respect what it is that you want, what you need, and how to, respect those boundaries you set. So it's for you to not just set them, but to also implement them. Okay? The third one is I need you to start looking at your boundaries like a fence. Okay, your boundaries are not just boundaries, not just you and just saying whatever. It's a fence. It's a fence that you're building around you to protect you more, protect you financially, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Okay, it's just like it's a fence where you're able to differentiate what is I want and what I don't want. And what you have around you is building that fence. Is once you're building that fence, you're able to then take out anything around you that isn't right and put it outside of that fence. And the things that you do want, you keep it within that fence. So, you go out and then you bring them in and keep it within that safe space you've built in for yourself. And that sometimes equals to, getting people out as well. Because most of the time, people that tend to breach those contracts and breach those boundaries, again, is the closest people to you. So when you're, building that fence, understand that and when you're building your boundary, understand that it's a fence. And sometimes you have people who, you've kicked out of that fence that you've built around you because they're not allowed to be within that fence anymore because they're just disrespectful. And you will see them trying to find ways to come back in where they will even climb up your fence. And that's when you have to start building a brick wall. Don't just build a little fence anymore. Build a brick wall where they can't just climb up it. No, they can't just do that. And that's when then people start telling you that, oh, you're so cold now. Oh, you're not as you used to be. Or you're not as fun as you used to be. Trust me, you're still gonna start getting those things. You even have some family members not even liking you anymore, feeling like you're acting too big for your boots, or like you think you're all that, or you don't listen to anybody and you're too up in your head. All because you have decided that you're going to show yourself more respect, and anybody who's not gonna respect you and your decisions is gonna stay out of that. Okay, so just I want you to just pace yourself for that part there. And when it's coming, you have people coming at you and kind of telling you things, making you feel like, you know, you're changed and stuff. Stand firm. Because what happens to a lot of people that once that things like that start coming, it's not the people that they even cared a lot about start, you know, disrespecting their boundaries and disrespecting them. Is that they start to feel like, oh, maybe are they doing too much? Or maybe it's them, or maybe, you know, are they, you know, but no, stand firm within what it is that you set for yourself. Because the reason why you set those boundaries, because you know exactly what you want and exactly what you don't want. And once you, the moment you start to breach that fence and start to, you know, opening the gates for anybody to come in and start, you know, being very linear and not being very firm and building that and standing within what is your thing, you've just respected yourself. Because you've then told them that, oh, you don't really know what you want. And the whole point of building that boundary, building that fence is for you to differentiate what you do want and what you don't want, and to communicate effectively to others. And that is what I leave you with today. See you next time.